this minute, Council. Should we get this? Yes, sir.
Father in heaven, we are thankful for the countless blessings you have given unto this city from its inception. We falter a lot not remembering that if we turn to you, you have a great path set out before us for this city to give you glory and to love one another in our community. In our meetings and consultations, may we be led by your words of wisdom, your clarity of vision, and respect and thoughtfulness of one another's opinions and thoughts. We ask for continued blessings and health for our citizens. Through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. If you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and do the roll call. Thanks for everybody that joined us tonight.
Allers.
Present.
Deacon.
Here.
Hensley.
Present.
Munster.
Here.
Mealy.
Present.
Schwartz.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Spicer.
Present.
Wiseman.
Present.
Wright.
Present.
And Florida.
All right, next item is adoption of the agenda, item 3.
Second.
A motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we don't show any miscellaneous items, no public hearings tonight, no appointments. Item 7, presentations from staff, financial update, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What you have before you are the sales tax receipts for the most recent collection that occurred in February of '24. We received in the general fund sales tax $1,293,000. That is above the budget projections. So year to date, we have kind of evened out there, and we are just slightly above by $4,767 for the fiscal year. The capital improvement, we took in $631,000. That is, again, slightly above what we projected. We have not made up the total ground that we lost in the first period, so we are still short in capital improvements by $42,397. We'll continue to monitor that to make sure that we get back on track as we progress into the fiscal year. The park sales tax and also the public safety tax both came in above projections. Parks is at an overage year-to-date of $14,997, and the public safety tax is under budget of $22,308. The next 4 pages that you have in your packet are just individual breakdowns for those various funds. So the next page is the revenue model report. Here on this report, sales and use tax, you'll see the $4,767 we just talked about for an overage. Projections here seem to be on target. Currently, we have a charges for services issue that relates to the gas utility tax. We have had a mild winter, so that will play a part in that. Really nothing else of concern here at this time, though. The last page that you have is the fund balance report, and this fund balance report has not been updated since we have not had anything to provide for the FY23 unaudited figures. However, this week we have gotten to the point where we do have some unaudited numbers, and so we are anticipating at the end of FY24 an 18.82% fund balance. We did manage in 23 to get the percentage back up, as Chief Schofield and I said we would attempt to do during the budget season. So that has been accomplished based on the unaudited numbers we have right now. That could still potentially change, but I don't anticipate that it will change very much at all. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions on the financials? Councilman Spencer?
There was a time when we were without our city administrator, and I just really, again, want to echo and thank you and Chief Schofield and yourself and your staff for really working hard at addressing a concern that the majority of us on this council had, and that is with the fund balance. So, sounds like mission accomplished. Good work, and thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for that report. Takes us to item 8, announcements. Admin committee. You have a meeting.
We
do, and it has lots of items, and it'll be on Wednesday morning at 7:30 across the hall.
All right, finance?
No announcement at this time.
You just got a good report.
Excellent report. Great leadership.
Public safety.
Thursday, March 28th, police training room, 7:30.
And then finally, Public Works and Planning, Councilman Spencer.
Will be March 14th at 7:30 here in the council chambers. It's on Thursday.
Any other announcements? Councilman Spencer?
Last week, some of us on the council, Councilman Mealy, myself, and Mr. Deacon Allers, I believe if I missed anybody, my apologies, attended the documentary on the foot at Lincoln University. We have a star right here among us, Mr. Brown, Arthur Brown, and his brother Glover, and others contributed to that documentary. I would encourage everyone to go to YouTube and watch that. It was a great piece, and it was good to see my friend Glover Brown hear his voice and see his smile, and he did a great job in that.
We've seen.
Yeah, hear him sing as well. So we miss him, but he's forever, his legacy lives on even within that documentary. So thank you.
And I'll just say, it was fantastic. If you can get on YouTube and watch it, there's one gentleman that stole the show. The whole room broke out in laughter every time he was there, and it would have been a great got to know him, Mr. Douglas. The stories, phenomenal, and it was fantastic. So thank you, sir.
Good. Thanks. Takes us to item 9, presentations from the gallery on specific bills or resolutions. We do not have anybody signed up. That takes us to item 10, consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Takes us to item 11, bills introduced 2023-083.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Western Specialty Contractors in the amount of $337,985 for the parking garage rehabilitation project.
Mr. Marash.
Yeah, thank you. So as the clerk indicated, this would be our parking garage rehab contract, just over $330,000. And it's with Western Specialty Contractor out of St. Louis. We haven't done work with them, but we did check references, et cetera, and everything checked out. Mainly this focuses on the Madison Street parking deck. Lots of things going on there, but it would occur after session and lower used parking times. Just be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none. 2023-08.
There was a question in the audience. I don't know if we take that now or so the hand.
We don't.
Absolutely.
I guess I want to have an opportunity to discuss the awarding of the low contractor.
But we had an item on the agenda that you needed to sign up for.
In order to present your information.
I'm sorry?
In order to present information to this tonight.
Yes, it's up to the council. I mean, the council's gonna have to decide if you want to allow it. We'll have to go backwards in the agenda.
That's fine. Let's let the gentleman speak. He's here.
If you could just come up the podium, just introduce yourself and just remind council which item you're speaking on.
Well, thanks for hearing me. My name is Jeff Kelly. I'm with Keeley Restoration, and we were the #2 bidder on the project, and I think the engineer did a really good job. Our bid was within $4,700 of the apparent low bidder. And so anytime we spend a lot of time on something like this and we're that close, we want to look at the bid tab and see exactly where everything lies and make sure that what you're seeing is the right price. And when you look at a bid, you look at two items, the apparent low bidder, so you just look at the total amount, and if that's $334,000, whatever it is, and then you look at the bid qualifications. And I have a couple documents I'd like to show you on their bid qualifications. There's a particular detail that shows on the plumbing for one item that you run the plumbing down, you dig the dirt out, take the concrete out, dig the dirt out, and you attach to the existing plumbing. That was bid item R8. That alternate bid item R17 were 5 additional items just like that, and you had to do the exact same repair, cut the concrete, go down to the existing plumbing, because you're taking out all this bad piping, and then you're leaving what's bad in the concrete down to the horizontal, and the detail specifically shows R8 and R17 to be the same repair. The contractor qualified in his bid that he would not take that out. He's only taking the pipe out to the concrete. Well, there's a significant amount of money and time and energy to do that, which I think is more than our $4,700 that we were difference in bid. So there's 5 additional repairs where he's saying he's not. He specifically says he's only doing this, and the detail specifically says you need to do all this other work. So when I look at that, I say that would give him a bidding advantage that we did not price it that way. We priced it exactly like the detail shows. He excluded that work in his. So I just ask that you guys look at that before you make a decision. I can share the details. I made a copy, highlighted it, and whatever you guys see fit, but I at least wanted to let you know that that would create a change order for you later that you're gonna have to pay more money for it. And if you have anybody wants to see a detail, I can give it to you, then.
Have a copy of it.
Sure.
Well, have you shared that with staff?
No, I haven't shared it with anybody. I just.
Yeah,
I think,
I heard there was, somebody had called in earlier, late in the day, I heard about it, so I didn't know what it was about exactly, but
Yeah, by default.
I had to check it out, and if there is a thing, we can, and if we can do, this has happened in the past, it's been long ago, but basically the code says something to the effect we can do whatever's in the city's best interest. And so sometimes we do have to change contracts, so I don't know the details, but we'll have the staff look at it and go from there.
I think the best course of action would be get with Mr. Mack, who runs Public Works, and Councilman Spencer may want to loop in to Public Works.
Yeah, if I didn't follow
The only time frame is we need to try to get that done before the next meeting.
Okay.
And obviously, it can be put on informal, but we can push it along.
Okay.
But thanks for coming in. Essentially, in the future, and council has the right to do it, but we put a sign-up sheet outside in the past so we can kind of judge how many comments we're going to get. So in the future, if you want to come in, the sheet is out there till 6 when we call the meeting to order. Technically, we close it at that point, but I appreciate you speaking up, and
Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I'll follow the protocol next time.
No, that's fine.
I got very little hair, but I'm learning all the time, so I'll learn something else today. Thank you.
Sorry, can I ask
Councilman Hensley,
a question of the gentleman?
Sure.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand what you're
Could
saying.
you just go back to the podium? Just, the mic is better there. The mic is in the room, but it's better there for folks at home that want to follow.
So in R8, it kind of cuts off on the table, I see, but it starts install new supplement. I don't know what that continues with, but that's R8 on mine. And you bid that 7,500 unit price, total cost 7,500. And this Western Specialty Contractors bid at 30,200 unit price, 30,200 total cost. So that's R8. So they're significantly above you on that one. Then R17, remove and replace up. I don't know what it goes on to say beyond that, but you have 7,000 unit price and then total cost 42,000. So that looks like you're doing that 6 times. They, in the same line, they have unit cost 5,375 and then total cost 32,250. Which to me looks somewhere around 6 times. I didn't do that in my head confidently, but it looks like it's somewhere around 6 times. Yeah. It looks like in R8 you're each doing something once, and in R17 you're each doing something 6 times. So I'd just be, not that we need to get into a long discussion about that here. I'm just not necessarily seeing exactly what you're describing.
Well, if I get a chance, we'll talk about it and I can explain that and go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, but thanks for giving me your time. Appreciate it.
You want to be a part of those discussions, or you want to just share with Mr. Marash or Councilman Spencer?
Thank you.
Again, thanks for being with us. All right, that takes us to 2023-084.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $12,693,100 Phase 2 design-build agreement with Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company for the Biosolids Improvement Project.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. As clerk indicated, this is a design-build contract with Burns & McDonnell of Kansas City. And it's a progressive design-build contract, so we've gotten to the phase where they've collected bids on equipment and the structure itself, et cetera, and gave us this not guaranteed maximum price here. So this would be the second phase, go ahead and building the building and obtaining the equipment, et cetera. They basically, how they do this is they go through the components and they would bid out and get bids and quotes from various contractors for all the centrifuges, for example. That's a high dollar piece of equipment in this building, the building package itself, concrete, et cetera. And so they go through this process and then try to get commitments on each of those things, just like we do when we bid. So that's how this works. And so it come up with the $12,693,000 price tag. There is contingency built into that number for unforeseen items that we encounter, but I think it's, I want to say 4%. I can't remember the exact number, but anyway, the facility is being replaced, almost 30 years old now, time it gets finished. It's the biosolids equipment building and equipment at the wastewater plant, so that produces basically the end product fertilizer that we put on fields. And try to answer any questions if you have them beyond that. We did a pretty thorough, I thought, presentation at the Public Works Planning Committee about it. Had some little stick figure diagrams for everyone, but those should be in your packets too, if you want them.
Any questions on 084? Councilman Miller?
Thank you. Director Marash, I just wondered if you were up to speed on the lay of the land when it comes to biosolids that, I guess depending upon the trajectory of the federal government, it may be something that stays, goes, and those types of things. So just so long as the city is keeping it.
Yes, there's a lot of discussion about it and how it's applied and what class and various things of that nature. So
Let's follow
yeah, we do try to keep a handle on that, and this facility is compliant, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more discussion if that were to change over time.
All right, 2023-085.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $14,285,100 principal amount of the sewerage system revenue bonds, Series 2024 of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, for the purpose of improving the city's sewerage system, prescribing the form and details of the bonds and the agreements made by the city to facilitate and protect their payment and prescribing other related matters.
Marash?
Yes, thank you again. So this is the companion to the contract we just talked about. You'll notice it's $14 million instead of $12 million, but that is, we're put in this bond, the phase 1 money we've already outlaid, and then the closing costs as well for this project. So this was part of our bonding authority of $44 million. This is our biggest project within the $44 million. That was approved a couple years ago by the citizens in the April election. We anticipate getting around a 2% interest rate out of the state revolving fund, so that lets us hedge against inflation to go ahead and get this thing rolling, and helps keep our rates low and keeps our system compliant. So I'm happy to answer any questions. There is an outside chance that the state's still reviewing all the documents, that if they don't materialize in the next 2 weeks, we could put both of these, the previous one and this one, on the informal calendar until that gets caught up. But we wanted to get it introduced and out there.
Any questions on 085? All right, that takes us to 2023-086.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $374,812 supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Services for the period of November 1, 2023 to October 31, 2024, reflecting consolidated planning grant funds as approved in the FY 2024 Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization Unified Planning Department in the budget amendment for $200,000 to allow for the procurement of professional services.
Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, what this bill is would authorize basically a supplemental to the Consolidated Planning Grant Agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission for our Campo group. It would amend their budget to add $200,000 to their work program, and to also add the provision of a engineering study to look at the tri-level, also known as the intersection of 63, 54, and 50. This would require a match. That grant, Consolidated Planning Grant, is an 80-20 federally funded grant, so it would require a match which, based on conversations during Campo and with documentation we have here, has been agreed to with the county to split the matching cost of that. So $200,000 would be the Campo portion, and $25,000 would be paid for by the city, with $25,000 also paid by the county, to set aside that $250,000 kind of initial money to look into the study of that of the tri-level. And just a quick kind of background on where we got to, or where we came from and where we're at right now. 2023, I think, saw several incidents around that tri-level that kind of precipitated some additional conversation and drive to really look at taking a look at some of the engineering studies and solutions that could be looked at for the tri-level. We actually had a representative from the Chamber of Commerce come to the Campo Board of Directors, kind of really in support of initiating some type of study. JC Rep became involved and put together kind of a general outline on how an RFQ process might be taken up by Campo. Campo staff then put together a rough timeline of about 6 months in order for going from amending their work program and budget to when we might actually be able to put in an RFQ for securing services to put together an engineering study for that. So we're actually maybe just a little bit ahead of schedule. I'd hesitate to get too excited about that. There's a few steps left. But generally, Campo put together an outline for a $250,000 allocation again. In some of those initial conversations, there was a kind of initial estimate for what the full cost of the study could be, upwards of $500,000. And at that time, it was agreed that the city and county would generally split the additional money. I would stress, though, that at this point, $250,000 really is just an allocation. Matching funds is really identified for that additional $200,000, so that no money necessarily has been spent right now. There would be an additional council meeting that we would come back to council and ask for any type of supplemental funding to pay for anything that would be above and beyond what that initial $250,000 could cover for that grant or for that study. We're looking at potentially June for any type of additional appropriations that we need for that study. Really over the next 2 months, we'll be putting together their RFQ, receiving bids, working with the consultant at that time to put together the scope for what that study would be, and then also initially what the fee for that study would be. And just to talk a little bit more long range with this, this engineering study would kind of be step one, really, in moving ahead with any type of tri-level work. There would need to be environmental studies done on that intersection in the future. We're working with our state and federal partners to make sure this study can kind of tie into those future environmental studies, form those studies so that that can kind of hopefully streamline the process a little bit. With those environmental studies in place, that really sets us up then potentially to be looking at funding in the terms of grants in the future. Part of the reason that I think this kind of process was initiated was that this particular tri-level project has been identified on the city's unfunded needs list through Campo with a very high price tag. I think it was $100 million. And so really I think it was viewed as being a little bit of a hurdle to get that ball rolling into looking at potential solutions and any type of engineering studies that might look at things that we can kind of identify smaller portions that we could actually pay for that's less than 100 million. So it would kind of hopefully give us kind of an array of improvements and not look at just an entire $100 million project all at once. What you have before you then is basically the supplemental agreement for the Consolidated Planning Grant, and then also the appropriation, additional $25,000 match, coupled with the county's match for $250,000 at this stage of the tri-level study. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. And we have asked to check mark this. This is a bit of a time-sensitive issue. The quicker we can get the ball rolling as far as getting the RFQ out and bids out, the quicker we can hopefully start the study.
I appreciate all the work staff has done. I know this project was just kind of dropped. There was a lot of excitement in the community, and Mr. Marash, I know, has been active. I think it's fair to say, I mean, we call it the tri-level, but it's tri-level and the expressway, because my understanding is the federal government nor MoDOT is interested in just doing a tri-level unless we tie the whole expressway project into it. So I think this initial scoping includes both pieces of that, if I'm accurate.
It does. I think our draft RFQ kind of identified a broader region than just the tri-level.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the public understand it's not just the tri-level. It's going to be a combination project, which is what doubles the cost of it. But to get it started, you guys have done a great job of kind of ratcheting back excitement and forcing us to go through the proper steps, which you do a good job of. With that, questions from council, and as you did indicate, there is a desire to move this forward, but Councilman Spencer?
I request that we suspend the rules on 2023-086.
Second. Is there any opposition to doing that? All right. We're gonna take, is there any discussion, Councilman Lester?
Just a question. That infrastructure appears to be quite old. Do we have any idea about what the anticipated continued life of it is? Any studies or things in the past?
I couldn't answer that off the top of my head. I don't know if Mr. Marash has any.
Well,
knowledge
it's a
of that
MoDOT facility, so, you know, they're in the process of maintaining it. I think they were actually, you know, they blocked one bridge off that was in, they didn't want to repair it. But yeah, I mean, it's, that factors into some of this. So I think really this is first steps, problem definition. What are the actual traffic problems there? We all have some idea that we don't like things, but that engineer have to go through and identify.
Google says 1964.
All right, there's been a request to suspend the rules. We will need to read the bill again then.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $374,112 supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Services for the period of November 1, 2023 to October 31, 2024, reflecting consolidated planning grant funds as approved in the FY 2024 Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization Unified Planning Work Program and a budget amendment for $200,000 to allow for the procurement of professional services.
All right, what you have before you is 2023-086. Any other comments on that bill? We'll need a roll call vote.
Hollers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Neely.
Aye.
Schwartz. Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman. Gray.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2023-087.
An ordinance approving a plan for an industrial development project for Unilever Manufacturing Incorporated, authorizing the City of Jefferson, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Series 2024B, in a principal amount not to exceed $33 million, and its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Series 2024B, in a principal amount not to exceed $50 million, to finance the costs of such project, authorizing and approving certain documents, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds.
Mr. Molman.
Thank you. So this bill would approve issuance of approximately $83 million in taxable industrial revenue bonds in order to facilitate tax abatement for a project at the Unilever site. Breaks down to essentially $33 million of real property improvements and $50 million of personal property purchases. The agreed upon abatement amount would be 75% of real property taxes for 10 years and 75% of personal property taxes for 10 years. There is a performance agreement that goes along with this bill. The performance agreement outlines that the company will be required to maintain at least 441 jobs at the existing site for the 10-year abatement period. Essentially, the project is renovating 110,000 square feet of existing square footage in the company's main building in order to install a new product line at the site. So we have representatives from Unilever and also JC Rep who instrumental in moving this project forward. So I'd be happy to turn those over to either Mr. Holschneider or Mr. Wheelie if they have anything in addition. Sounds like I covered it, so I'd be happy to answer any questions. I'm sure both groups would be happy to answer any questions as well.
First, thanks for being here. Thanks for the project. Any questions from council?
The question of the company, if they don't mind. Thanks for being here. So this is a bill to essentially renovate your existing structures at Unilever and to maintain a certain number of jobs. And is that job number that you're maintaining near the number of employees you have now?
Yeah, it's approximately near that number. And again, this is over a 10-year period.
Okay.
Right, so what happens over 10 years is unknown. So as we work through details, we'll go through that.
Then I guess my second question would be is why are, in your estimation, why would tax breaks be appropriate for a facility that's just being renovated? What will the city see from that as a return on investment?
So I think for us in this particular investment here for the community, right, there were other areas that were looked at in North America from that standpoint. The tax incentives of what we proposed made this a more opportune area for us to make this investment as a really. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here pretty puzzled.
I think when I take a look at, to answer your question, I think when we take a look at the investment of this site. The site's been here since 1966. It's generational, has a lot. Businesses go through cycles, right? As this facility's gone through cycles, it started out as a cotton swab factory, became a Q-Tex factory, made toothpaste, right? And has made personal care products since around 2005, 2008. We're on our next cycle of this business change, and again, as the business changes, right, we'll make investments along those lines as well. So I think when we talk about the longevity of the site, the retention for current employees here, the investment that we have in the community, this is, again, an investment within our site and a facility to ensure, again, that we have good, strong go-forward actions for the site.
Okay, I appreciate it. And then, Ryan, do you know what 75% of each of those pots looks like?
I didn't hear the question.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Do you know what 75% of each of those pots of tax abatement looks like?
There is a cost-benefit analysis in the packet buried in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I might have to defer the question and get with our bond counsel to make sure I'm giving you the right number.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We don't need told at the meeting time, so thank you.
Councilman Allers.
I believe we have like 69 acres or 60 acres out there for a footprint that is currently available in that area. Your footprint now, that after we do this, it'll still allow for, hopefully, that you're still around and all this stuff that for future growth and future expansion.
Correct.
In that area, so that, I mean, you're not gonna be, this thing won't use up all of it. If there comes back a need that we need to do this again, and hopefully the company's growing beyond your expectations, that we have enough site to keep this footprint going in that area.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think out 20 years down the road what this might, if we have to look for different areas or something like that, it would, hopefully that we have enough area there to keep the expansions going and all that. So
Correct. Right.
I just don't know what the whole footprint was out there. I think we had 60 acres the city had, so I don't know what you have.
59.3, I think, right? So,
Well, I'm glad there's enough there for this expansion and hopefully others.
Councilman, I'm sorry, are you done, Councilman?
Thank you.
Councilman Spencer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, this was a competitive process, and I appreciate all our partnerships working together hand in hand to keep our jobs here, keep that commitment level high to Jefferson City from Unilever. Again, it's when you've educated us in the past about your facility, it's remarkable what Jefferson City produces worldwide, and generational workforce. Generation after generation has come and worked for that company. So I think that speaks a lot for your commitment to employees and to the community. So again, I just want to say thank you for your participation and commitment here.
thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for
All right, thank you.
for our community. Any other questions? I think you covered.
All right, thank you.
Next. All right, 2023-088.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson creating a new section to the city code relating to administrative chargebacks.
Curry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would create a new section within the city code that would codify the current practice that the city has for administrative chargebacks. This was brought up during the 24 budget committee meetings and requested by council that we attempt to put something into the code that codified that. So that's what this bill attempts to do. It puts the administrative chargebacks charging all non-general fund budgets, and that it be using a consistent formula. So City Attorney Mulman and I worked on getting the language here that we feel like serves the purpose of what the committee asked for, while still taking into account some of those direct costs that could be associated, for example, with wastewater. We spend a lot of time in finance working on wastewater bonds, and so this would still allow us to account for those things, but it would use a consistent formula for all funds across the city. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I don't know if you have anything to add, Ryan.
Questions or comments? Thank you. All right, bills pending. Item 12A, 2023-077.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with SAC Construction LLC in the amount of $2,194,115 for the 2023 line sanitary and storm pipes project.
Mr. Marish.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, a pipeline project with SAK, and it's a little just under $2.2 million, so it's a pretty large-scale project that we're undertaking here, but it would line 7 miles of sanitary sewer pipe and about a half mile of stormwater pipe. And so the majority of that is funded through the wastewater program, about $1.6 million, the remainder is stormwater. And this is helps us have a lower impact on neighborhoods, streets, et cetera, people's yards to do this project this way instead of open cut type construction. Happy to answer any other questions.
Questions? Mr. Mallard.
Our little issue we had before on Carl Lane.
Yeah, it's included in this project.
Other questions? All right, we need a roll call vote.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Bill passes.
Great, takes us to 2023-078.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Sam Gaines Construction Incorporated in the amount of $335,475 for the Southwest Boulevard and Lafayette Street Crosswalks project.
Murray.
Thank you. Clerk indicated contractor Sam Gaines and the price just over $330,000. This is a TAP grant project to enhance the safety of the greenway crossings in the streets there at Lafayette and Southwest. When these were going in, kind of minimal improvements at the time. And so this would enhance those, additional lighting, signing, striping, et cetera. And we do this now more upfront, typically with our greenway or sidewalk projects when we do something like this. But this would let us go back and enhance safety of those crossings.
Questions on 078? Need a roll call vote?
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2023-079.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Premier Demolition Incorporated for the demolition of the dangerous structure known as the Saddle Tree Factory located inside of the city-controlled section of the MSP site addressed as 102 North Chestnut Street.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So again, this is part of our MSP project. We're clearing some materials, some brush, which actually is occurring this week. So this is another portion of that project where we will be contracting with Premier Demolition to take down the building there known as the Saddle Tree Factory. It is the lone remaining building on the lower yard that the city controls, currently a dangerous building. So the demolition of that would really clear the site. Hopefully, along with the brush clearance, would make the site a little more attractive and ready for development. And be happy to answer any questions. They do expect to start work hopefully within a few weeks.
Again, I appreciate staff's work on this. We made commitments, so we do clean up on that site, and you guys have followed through, so thank you very much. Questions, comments from council, Councilman Wright?
Just a quick question for you, Mr. Smith. When we do these demolitions, is it procedures of staff to photograph the building from all sides, just for historical record purposes, what it looked like before it came down?
Yeah, I think I could say we have a large catalog of pictures in this site. So as part of the bid packet, they took a lot of pictures too. We actually flew a drone to get pictures from the top of the building as well, some of the inside of the building. So we do kind of have a historical record of that building. So we'll see if we can make sure that gets kind of documented at some point, kept for posterity.
Thank you.
Councilman Hensley?
Maybe, I understand this is within the city-controlled section of the site, but do we need to get approval from the state or anything like that before going forward with this?
We did submit the contract to the state just to make sure the contract language falls within the parameters of the grant, because we are using community revitalization grant with this. But as far as the site goes, I don't think we need it. I think that was part of the original agreement with the site, was to be able to clear the material.
Yeah, that was something that was dealt with several years ago, I believe with the city's land swap agreement, where we all agreed that the city had essentially exhausted its inquiries on whether or not that building is going to be savable. So OA knows what's going on here. So we're good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll need a roll call vote.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz. Spicer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2023-080.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $108,256.87 contract with Wireless USA for the installation and maintenance of door access controllers and readers.
Ms. Perry?
Mr. Mayor,
This contract would award a bid for controllers, readers, and software for the city facility door access to Wireless USA. We received 10 bids on this project. It was budgeted in FY24 by council for 11 locations, and this contract would allow us to do work at those 11 locations and possibly add a few other island areas as well. This bid is not the lowest bid. The low bid had a 24-hour response time from St. Louis, and this contract has a 4-hour response time and is a local vendor. So the selection committee decided unanimously that this recommendation for Wireless USA was the best bid based on that response time. We did have a selection committee of both Chiefs Wilde and Schofield, Britt Smith, and Grant Harmon and Craig Vaughn from IT and purchasing. We tried to get some feedback for everybody that kind of had a stake in it with the various facilities. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Perry? All right.
I'm sorry.
Councilman Spencer?
City Hall's part is,
It is.
just want to make sure. Thank you.
All right, do a roll call vote.
Neely?
Aye.
Schwartz? Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Wiseman?
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Fowlers?
Aye.
Deacon?
Aye.
Hensley?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2023-081.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Chapter 19, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule G, Stop Intersection by the removal of Monroe Street stop signs at Woodlawn Avenue.
All right.
Sponsor indicated you on the form, put this on the form, Ken?
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and allow you to discuss it, see if there's any comments from council, and then we'll go to Councilman Mealy.
Yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. Removal of a stop sign at Monroe Street, on Monroe Street at Woodlawn, with changes at the hospital. Staff revisited the issue, did a traffic study and found that this could be removed.
Any more questions, Councilman Mealy?
Would, I need this in the form of a motion. Better, or, I'll just ask that
You can just request to put it on the informal calendar.
Yeah, I would just request that 2023-81 be placed on the informal calendar.
Okay, so it'll be on that section of the agenda at the next meeting. It's got 3 meetings.
Yeah. I'll just say that I had a resident reach out to me and questioned about that action related to safety at that intersection.
Okay. All right, it's on the informal. 2023-082.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the parking fund balance.
Marash.
Thank you. Again, and this has a substitute with it, which basically reduces the supplemental by about $30,000 to $902,000 from the original. It takes out a vehicle that was originally contemplated in there for more discussion, but basically it funds contracts we've talked about tonight for garage rehab, News Tribune, demolition, asbestos removal, et cetera, and then some upgrade of our systems there to digital permitting and monitoring that allows us to remove an old server at the garage and helps save finance and time as well. So we've talked about this quite a bit at some of that stuff, all of these things at the Public Works and Planning Committee over the last few months, and this is would fund them.
Comments? Councilman Mealy.
Director Marash, I just have one quick question on the abatement of asbestos in the News Tribune building that would fall under this. Forgot if it was a resolution or a bill, but anyhow.
It's an item, change order.
It strikes me as kind of odd that we would abate the asbestos out of the News Tribune building with the parking fund. Could you explain a little bit why that is correct?
Yes, so this is, this site was bought with the parking fund dollars in anticipation of demoing the building and being available for future expansion of parking as well as current parking. So we're also working on a project internally to basically to add this current lot of News Tribune, since we own it, add a few more downtown parking spaces in that area. And so it's all revolving around the parking, the fund and operation of parking.
All right. You have substitute 2023-082 in front of you. That has the one.
We need 2 votes, one to accept the substitute, one to approve.
So we don't have to place the substitute on the table.
I'll make a motion to accept the substitute.
All right, let me do a roll call vote on that.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright. Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Now you have substitute 2023-082 in front of you.
And I'll make a motion to move 2023-082.
Second. All right, got the bill in front of you. We'll do a roll call vote.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer. Wiseman. Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Bill is adopted as substituted.
All right, nothing on the informal this meeting. Go to resolutions 14A, so resolution 2023-48.
A resolution authorizing the city of Jefferson to apply for a bridge investment program grant.
All right.
Thank you. Our internal procedures require that we come get a resolution when we apply for grants like this so we can identify where our match would come from. And so that's what this is. We're wanting to apply for a grant for the High Street Viaduct, a very large project the city's been contemplating to replace that bridge. Could cost up to $15 million when design and et cetera is included. This is a competitive grant process through the feds. And so that application is due here shortly in the next few weeks, or a couple weeks really. And we would hear back sometime in the fall if this were accepted for that program. So like I said, the grant is somewhere 2 to 3 million. We're identifying that probably out of the city county funds of half-cent capital improvement projects. And it was been long discussed, and so this would be a way to help us pay for the majority of that if successful. So Bartlett West is helping us with our grant application. Reviewing that now, get all the I's dotted, et cetera.
Questions on 2023-48? Need action to get that on the table.
Move to approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second. And the roll call vote.
Spicer.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz. Spencer.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, resolution 2023-49.
A resolution authorizing the city of Jefferson to enter into a contract with OpenGov Software through a cooperative procurement agreement through Omnia.
Ms. Perry, we get to talk to you a lot tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This would authorize a contract with OpenGov Software for budgeting software through a cooperative procurement with Omnia. Council was given a demo of this particular software last week. For anyone who did not attend, there was an email sent out with the link. This is software that City Administrator Crane is interested in pursuing. And to be honest with you, it would create a substantial time savings, I think, in finance with our budget book as well and all of the information that we provide to council. It would take things from being an automated Excel process to something that's much more user-friendly and also forward-facing to the public. So it would create some more transparency there for our city website. I do want to call attention to the third page of this resolution. I contacted OpenGov today to inquire as to whether or not we could get this proposal within the same time frame as our city budget. So what you have before you is what they originally sent me for year one being 4 months of software plus the professional services. They provided me with a quote today that would run on the first year 7 months of the software, so it would go through the October 31st timeframe, and then the second year.
Talking about changing from 4 months to 7 months, is that, well, go ahead.
So the software for 7 months will be $23,101, and the professional services will remain the same as what's listed here. The professional services are for implementation, for conversion, for setup, for staff training, getting dashboards set up to assist us. So the total cost in the first year, which is our current fiscal year, is $81,333. The second and third year are just software costs. You can see they're between $39,600 and $41,500. The proposal would be that we utilize savings that we have in our current fiscal year budget. I have a vacant position in the finance department that we would utilize the savings on that position to cover the first year costs, and the remainder of the funds would come from other areas under my purview. So we would not be requesting funds for the first year. We would come back and start requesting funds for the second year, potentially through capital improvement. This would qualify, and this would be something that would be citywide utilized. So it would qualify for the capital sales tax. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You also, you hit on it briefly, you talked about the advantages of being able to put things on the website, but could you hit just real briefly the advantages to the public? Because it's going to create opportunities for the public to have a little bit better feel for where we are financially. I know we lost a lot of our public, but we've got some here in the room.
It will. The software is, to a degree, going to be interactive. So a citizen would be able to go into the website. It would have real-time data. We would update the data every evening on an automated basis, so it's about as real-time as we can get. But if they wanted to go in and just inquire about the expenses from a certain department, they would be able to do that and kind of narrow down the search that they're using. It appears to be very interactive with the public, and at the same time, we could also make some specific dashboards for council members if there's something that they have great interest in that they inquire about data on a regular basis. It just will create more transparency for the information that we're currently providing to council, and really we give the citizens a one-time look with our budget document, and this would be interactive, real-time, and kind of ongoing for them to be able to select whatever they'd like to.
Sorry, we were watching the TVs that popped back on there. And I think that's the important part. I mean, obviously, it gives council a little bit better opportunity to get data as they need. But I know your staff does a great job in trying to respond to the public for information, but this will make it easier for people to understand what we're doing here and hopefully better communication. So thank you. A lot of council questions, comments?
We have done vetting on this software. We did we reviewed 3 different types of software. 2 of them were leaders in the industry. This one is by far the most highly spoken of. I understand that the implementation costs are substantial, but one of the things that almost everyone that has implemented other software says is you get what you pay for when it comes to the implementation. And so I very much believe that if we're going to do this, we should do this right. And I think this is the company to do it. And this software definitely outshines the other softwares that we looked at.
Councilman Lester.
I think the transparency to the public is great, and I'm really impressed with all the facility from doing graphics and other ways to present the data to make it clearer for the budget process. So I think it's an excellent choice.
All right, we'll need action to get this on the table.
To move it.
Councilman Spencer. All right, roll call vote.
Wiseman. Aye. Wright.
Aye.
Fallers.
Aye.
Deacon.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Mealy.
Aye.
Schwartz. Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, resolution 2023-50.
A resolution instructing the city administrator to open a yard waste drop-off site.
Yes. Well, this, I have a memo and a diagram in the packet. We were gonna put it up on the screen, but we'll just use the packets for the diagram. But basically, we've been discussing internally, and it was brought up at a committee level meeting to stand up a yard waste site. And we recommended the one off Ellis Boulevard again, but expanded and still somewhat temporary in nature, that if we chose to go a different direction, we wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on it. But we believe we can get that ready by at least April 1st, maybe sooner. And for a cost of under $20,000 we're anticipating. Now this is just paying for materials like additional stone, etc. Our street staff would do the construction and compacting the gravel and moving the driveway, etc. So again, if you look at the packet, it would be an expanded facility over what's out there. We expand the drop-off area a little bit. We'd remove any entrance to the roundabout and make the entrance off of a driveway east on Ellis, which is goes back to the Missouri American water tank there, and then come in from a different direction. This would allow for us to have a much longer driveway entrance in case any peak times were to occur. And then we still use the exit as the one just east of the roundabout. So kind of a circular motion we could have there. We don't anticipate, the site is still, I think, a good site. It's centrally located. People can find it. It's on a main route. There aren't any homes in real near proximity, only a couple. And so it seems less disruptive from that manner as well. The operation we anticipate would be by the street division of our public works group. And we don't anticipate manning this like we did in the past, but we'd have an unmanned facility, and we'd check it periodically just like we do a parking lot or anything else we have to make sure it's in good order. Occasionally we'll have to go out and push the brush up into a pile and have that removed on occasion as well. That'll be the next contract we'll need to do. But so you can kind of see it in your packet there. So an expanded facility. One thing that may be different than it was discussed at the committee meeting, I wasn't there, but we were talking internally, I think city administrator and I and the attorney, but maybe having this open during daylight hours and signed that way, but it'd be kind of an honor system. And so in the summer we have daylight hours, till 9 o'clock or better. So if you're doing your yard work after work, you could just go ahead and go on out there and dispose of the material. It's kind of similar to what a lot of parks facilities say during daylight hours. We'd have we're anticipating doing some video monitoring of this facility. None of that's been nailed down yet, but we think there's various ways to go about that to kind of monitor who's coming and going on the site if something were to occur there. And trying to hit the highlights here for everyone. And really not, we could have gates on the facility, but I'd recommend just leaving it open unless there was a problem. We could always close it and adjust, and we'll probably adjust as we go. Like many things, we didn't know we had to adjust the first time, so this is an adjustment of that because it's a little more permanent, and it give the citizens a place to place their yard waste. So this isn't a compost facility. This is a drop-off facility. So like I said, the material would come in from people's yards. It wouldn't be for commercial use, and so then the next step is to get a contract in place, so kind of a reoccurring type thing. We have with many companies where we could have an on-call where we could say, okay, we have a pile large enough now, it needs to be disposed of properly. Call them, have them come out, where they truck it off, grind it, truck it off, or whatever they do to get it out of there. We'll work with them, and I'm assuming that would be another council contract coming in the pretty near future. So I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? Councilman Spencer.
In our packet, it does show two entrance or one exit point. That's not the previous.
It's the exit previous, not the entrance, not in the roundabout. It's east of the roundabout there.
It's already there.
Yeah. And I didn't say it, but we had an entrance that was in the circle, everybody knows. And so part of this, we'd also go back out and reconstruct that, so there would be no hint of an entrance there.
And that's the thing I just wanted to communicate, make sure we're gonna address that. So, you know, this operation could be temporary for as long as we would like to operate it. I mean, again, I think most of us on the council would really feel like we would like to encourage the private sector to take this on, and maybe this gives more time to the private sector to evaluate if they can do that, so within their business model. So, but I appreciate it.
Many other cities do similar things, so not just us.
I appreciate the work on. Thank you.
Councilman Allers.
I would suggest that I would hope we do the, some kind of camera there for the honor system to, just in case there is something comes up, we'll be able to let the public know we will look at it, the feed and all that, and we'll be able to read license plate from that standpoint too. I think that's would be very advantageous to it. And so I think there's some other things we could talk about through the Public Works with Chairman Spencer that could probably, but we have time to start discussing this further on and get some input from the citizens and all that. So I look forward to having those discussions with the Public Works Committee and staff. So thank you all very much.
Well, one thing I would say, if this is approved, you know, we would start work fairly immediately to get this thing open in time. And the new entrance road is fairly good length, and so needs some grading and a lot of gravel placed there. So we would start work pretty quickly.
All right, we'll need action to get that on the table. There. Councilman Miller.
I had a couple of questions. I wanted to start first by thanking the citizens of the city for, you know, bringing this to everybody's attention, going from terminating the site the last week of February to bringing it back this week. I think it shows the importance, and it was my firm belief that there were unintended consequences that result of not having the site, and those unintended consequences, while they're really hard to quantify, in my mind, they do quantify to what would be more than an actual site. So I think the citizens spoke, and they did a good job at that. So I really appreciate that. Just for you, Director Marash, I abstained from the vote in public safety on last Thursday, I guess it was. And the only reason I did that was because you weren't in the room. Your team was. If I'm going to vote to task a team with something, I kind of have a policy that they be there so they can provide their feedback. And so just want you to know that that's why I did that. Just a couple of questions. I've had a few constituents reach out to me about the potential for waste or odor at the Yardway site. And I guess that would primarily, I don't really understand much about it, but I guess that would be primarily in the hot summer months when you get wet grass that accumulates. And if we don't have that many houses by there, that site, but we have a couple, we might expect that, you know, we might just look into how that's going to impact the residents nearby, and maybe what kind of contract can get the materials out quick, so it you know, reduces the likelihood that you know, match or spark could be really combustible. Do you have an idea of what the expected contract cost would be to remove, let's just say what's out there now, what we collected in parts of November and December?
I don't have a good handle on that now, but we do have local contractors who have capability to remove this material. So like I said, that would be, I actually talked to our engineering group today about putting a contract out pretty quickly if this were to pass, so we would have a good handle on that. And as far as the smell, this, like I said, this isn't a composting operation. So I've actually worked in the city of Lee Summit where we had a composting operation at our landfill there when I worked there. And that involves, you know, turning the materials just like if you have a compost bin, but on a large scale, and you're, you know, and so that's where you can get some pretty odorous stuff during that process. So like at our current facility, I know it was processed on site, and you would have some compost there. So that's where that smell and combustion might come from. So we'll try to keep it from doing that. Obviously, we don't want to create an odor problem, and we'll police the site on a regular basis.
Okay. Do we expect that we'll clean up the materials that are out there as we open the site, or will we add to that first?
I think it could still handle more, but it'll take some time to get the contract in place anyway. So we'll just see how that process works, but we'll do our best to keep it maintained.
Well, like Councilman Allers, I encourage the cameras and I encourage wording that tells people and gives them a heads up. I don't want to see our police department in the business of trying to find every crime that occurs out at the Yardway site. We don't want to be generating a lot of work for your team. So hopefully that'll be enough of a deterrent. As Councilman Schwartz brought the idea from a constituent, somebody from Moberly, it's an interesting idea. I think there's some similarities and some differences. The couple differences being that it looked to be like their public works building is adjacent to their site, and so it's my estimation that somebody would be around 8 to 5 during the day and kind of meandering, and so there'd be some eyesight on it. Ours is fairly close to Fire Station 4, thank you, in the golf course. So maybe we can, there'll be enough people that work on that issue. But I think because it is a little bit secluded there, we might find that we have, a little bit different of a interaction, but hopefully everything's positive. And I know a number of my colleagues on council have, been making the public aware that this is a service that, there's no code or anything that says it has to be offered, and we all ought to use it as best we can, maintain it as best we can, so it's a service that can stay around for everyone.
Yeah, I went on that question just on my curiosity, because I used to kind of work with this stuff and I kind of had forgotten. So right as I getting out of college, there was a state law passed, no more yard waste into landfills. And so then in the 90s, you start seeing these things popping up in all the communities. So that's what really drove that in that 1990s timeframe, middle 90s.
Councilman Deacon,
Call for the question.
you got to put something on the table.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution. I thought we had a motion.
Second.
Can I talk?
Okay. All right, you have resolution 2023-50 before you, Councilman Spicer. Do you have it?
Just wanted to add this. I appreciate my public safety committee. I was actually out of town, but I asked my colleagues that voted to suspend the yard waste services on its current form to support this resolution and to co-sponsor it. So I just wanted to add that, and I really appreciate that too. So.
All right.
Just a quick question, or a quick comment.
So, I heard Councilman Lester first and then Councilman Wright.
So, when I first got this in the package, I just had Councilman Spicer's sponsorship, which is standard. But then this afternoon when I was out there, like at 3:30, had all the co-sponsors, and I just found that curious that Councilman Mealy and myself weren't included, especially since we were the ones that did not end the yard waste service. I found it even more curious since Councilman Spencer, after the safety meeting, asked me about my support, and I told him surely I supported the resolution, the proposal as it was discussed with safety. So I just wanted to make that comment. I found that very curious, that we were excluded.
Councilman Wright.
Just a quick comment. As we go along this, if it does appear that we're going to be having this as a permanent site going forward, I would just like some feedback from the residents that I've talked to keep aesthetics and how it looks from the road when you're driving by there in mind. And so, They brought up the fact that, you know, we have state track meets and all this kind of thing, all these public events at Oak Hills and things like that. You're gonna be driving by there. Just want that thought to also be placed in there, to, you know, do what we can to keep the site, you know, looking good and aesthetics of it looking good, so that it doesn't become an eyesore or something that you drive by. So that's it.
All right, you have resolution 2023-50 before you for a roll call vote.
Wright?
Aye.
Wallers?
Aye.
Deacon?
Aye.
Hensley?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Neely?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Wiseman?
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, 15, no presentations from the gallery. 16, different topics. 17, we do have closed session minutes that will need action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I need a roll call vote.
Wallers?
Aye.
Deacon?
Aye.
Hensley?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Neely?
Aye.
Schwartz? Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Wiseman?
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Motion passes.
No new business I'm aware of, no unfinished business. Councilman Wiseman, you've been quiet.
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody, and again, we apologize.